Hello, everybody, and welcome to WPIB.com coverage of Lake Erie Island sports. Your host, Patrick Meyers, here with you. The last time we were together, it was Olympics and bartending. So why not go on to vintage sports car racing right here? If you notice behind me, we are at Ted Erickson Field, commonly known as 3 Whiskey 2 to the pilots. It's the airport here on South Bass Island. I have a very special guest with me this morning. His name is Jack Worley, and he is the organizer of the Put-in-Bay Vintage Car Road Race and Reunion. Is that correct?
That's close. We can't agree on what our name is ourselves.
Jack, go ahead and give yourself a little bit of an introduction to basically sports car racing in general, and then how it involved Put-in-Bay.
Well, thank you, Patrick. Is this good? That's about right. Put-in-Bay is significant for sports car racing enthusiasts because it was one of the early places where people who wanted to race sports cars could actually do it. And the sports car phenomenon in the States started right after World War II, where GIs had been over in Europe and seen funny little cars, and some of them were able to bring those back, MGs and things like that primarily. And they wanted to race them because they'd seen it done over there. So there really wasn't any place for that. There weren't any dedicated racetracks that what we call a road racing circuit. Most racing in the United States was on county fair circles or ovals, and so in America, racing generally was considered an oval track sport. At least it was until road racing came along, and still most people think of racing as around an oval.
Say this correct, Jack. For the non-racing person that's watching us, these were just guys that liked the sport of racing and probably weren't in it for the professional level, but wanted to do it as a hobby on the weekend or so forth. And that's kind of where the SCCA kind of got started, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these were all amateurs. There was no professional sports car racing in the United States at that time. And then the SCCA, which stands for Sports Car Club of America, was formed in the early 50s to act as a clearinghouse for people around the country that wanted to do this, sort of to be under the same rules and guidelines and whatnot, and have some structure to it as far as what's legal, what you can do to your cars, and how you conduct a race and that sort of thing. So SCCA is still the major sanctioning body for amateur sports car racing, and to some degree professional, but there are others as well that cater, totally to professional racing, such as IMSA and Grand Am and things like that.
So we're going to fast forward now to next Tuesday. Now, when I say Tuesday, that's only the day of the race. There's actually a full week of events. And if you go to WPIB.com, a total list of the scheduled events for all week are listed on the site. But let's talk about just the race itself. Go ahead and tell the viewers how that's going to get started and maybe a couple generalities about the categories.
Okay, well, we're going to be racing. We're going to set up a mock road course on the airport here. This is the only place on the island that is suitable to do that. The public roads are obviously not safe for that anymore. So looking around here now, we're going to put hay bales and different barriers up to define the course. And it's 0.8 of a mile long. It goes, the start-finish line is right out here, and then it'll go around and finish back here. We'll have about 35 racing cars divided into 3 groups. So there's 2 groups, a fast and a slow racing group, where they actually race wheel to wheel and start behind a pace car and go for 8 or 10 laps. And each one of these groups will probably run 3 races during the day, with a final race called the Put-in-Bay Cup race, which includes all the cars that are still left running. And then we also have what we call an racing exhibition, which is for cars that are drivers that don't feel that they aren't qualified to actually race wheel to wheel, but they can.
Don't want to wreck their car.
Well, they still could wreck their car. Hopefully not. But those cars don't start in a pack. They let them out one at a time, but they're all out there at once, and they can pass under limited circumstances, particularly on the straightaways, and maybe not in some of the corners. We sort of define where they can pass and where they can't.
Well, Tuesday, that's August 26th, 10 a.m. to 5 a.m., vintage sports car racing right here on Ted Erickson Field on Put-in-Bay, Ohio. Free admission for all viewing areas, correct, Jack? And access to the pits to see the cars up close, and some of these cars are absolutely wonderful. If you need more information, and again, you want to see the schedule, just look on the website there, WPIB.com. Patrick Meyers here with you covering Lake Erie Island sports. It's race week. We'll see you next week, okay?